My next guest returns to the cage on April 14th at UFC on Fox 29. He's going to be taking on Luke Sanders. It is Patrick Williams joining me here on the program for the very first time. Patrick, how are you?
Doing well. Hopefully you're doing well as well.
I'm doing great, man. I appreciate you asking. Not everyone asks how I'm doing, so I like that. And it's been a bit of a minute since we've seen you in the cage last. Of course, you last fought in April. What's sort of been the reason for the layoff?
Just had little problems with the surgery that I had after my fight from UFC 188. So just dealing with that, it's been a pain.
Okay. Fair enough. What anything specific that you can say? I know you don't want to reveal too much. Obviously, you got an upcoming fight, but is there anything that that was it just on the doctor's end or was it on your end? What sort of happened?
A little bit of both, but I've recovered from it. Switched up my style a little bit to accommodate.
Okay, that's good.
So, that's one thing that kind of was detrimental in my last fight. I didn't get to train as much as I needed to on my last fight. That's why I kind of blew my gas tank pretty quick.
Okay, fair enough. And let's talk about that quickly. Obviously, you came out on the losing end of a fight with Tom Duquesnoy at UFC on Fox 24. You mentioned not getting to train a lot. Is there anything you sort of take away from that performance that you can kind of bring into this fight? Anything you sort of learned? I
learned a lot about how detrimental being in shape is. And fight shape to be more specific. And I learned a lot of things that really helped me out. Fighting is more to fighting, strategies, things like that. So I learned to appreciate strategies more.
Okay. Fair enough. And what about, you've obviously been in the gym for the last year. I know some of that was recovery and everything, like you mentioned with the injury and everything. But what would you say you've sort of improved on the most and maybe something that you're looking to showcase in this fight?
For this fight, I've improved a lot just everywhere. I've become a more complete fighter, a little bit more relaxed. I know that's one of the biggest things as an athlete. When you get out there, you're on the big screen, and sometimes you tend to overdo things other than just let everything just flow out. So I've been working on that, working on being relaxed when I fight. So I think that's going to be probably one of my biggest assets from this point on.
That's great. So sort of a mental thing is sort of, kind of fixing those things and making sure that when you go in there, you're 100% ready to go. Like, how have you sort of worked on that? Have you seen I know there's like sports psychologists or maybe, some good advice from a coach. What have you sort of done to sort of improve that?
Well, one thing I've done is a lot of research. I watched a couple of fights in the practice room. I'll pick up on little things that I do and I'll see that I'm not really cerebral sometimes when I'm fighting. And, I already have all the, I have the talent, I have the speed, athleticism. I have all those things. And just by practicing and being focused on, not so much focus on those things that I've already have, but focus on the things that I don't have. The mental aspect of fighting, because that's always going to change. A fight may call for something different, at any given second. So being able to pick up on those things, that's one thing that I've been focusing on in practice, and I think that's going to help me become a better fighter. Because in the practice room, I practice with many great people, and I do phenomenal. For me, it's just practice. I just go in there and I'm trying all type of different things, but I somehow began to see it and make it click that same mentality I have when I practice, I need that when I'm in the cage. That makes me a completely different fighter. I know a lot of fighters, it's sometimes the opposite. They do horrible in practice, but when they go on the fights, they're completely different. So I'm just trying to somehow merge the two, and this whole year I've been finding a way to merge the two and find out, who am I? Who is Patrick the Animal Williams? Just like the fans, all the fans are, seeing what I have to offer. I know what I have to offer, but sometimes it's different in the fights. So I'm a fan myself to see what I have to offer and see what opportunity presents itself and adjustments.
Very interesting. Okay, and you got another tough opponent here in Luke Sanders. He's got the 11-2 record. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I think I match up well. He's he's definitely a go-getter. His record shows that. I know his last two fights he's lost his last two fights. Huge prospect for the UFC. He was fighting Brian Caraway on what is that? That was his.
He's at a couple fights in there. Yeah, it's well, he was supposed to fight Caraway, and then he ended up fighting Andre Sukumta, of course, because Caraway was injured.
And that was supposed to have been his second fight, right?
I think it's second or third. I can't remember. I know he won his debut, and then he lost to Alcantara, a fight that he was winning, and he kind of just made a mental mistake. And then he fights Sukumta, and then he gets knocked out. So it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's 3 fights he's had.
So, yeah, on his third fight, he was going to fight Brian Caraway, which shows a lot. So I'm definitely prepared for that. I know he likes to grind things out, good cardio, very well-rounded fighter. I can kind of see why the UFC, gave him that opportunity. All his past fights, so, I'm looking forward to a very tough opponent in Luke Sanders.
Excellent. And do you feel like, we just sort of talked about his record there. Do you feel like the pressure is sort of on him in this fight? Because you mentioned, he's a big prospect. He's obviously from the MMA Lab, which is a very prestigious gym, but he's lost 2 in a row now. And, his last fight, I think a lot of people, if you looked at that fight on paper, thought he was going to win, and he ends up getting knocked out in the first round. So do you, we talked about the mental side of things. I mean, are you kind of looking at this as this is his fight, that the pressure's sort of on him in this one?
Yeah, you could definitely see it that way, but you can also see it both ways because, I'm coming off a loss myself. And so far out of 3 fights, one big win and 2 losses. I almost feel like I'm on the hot seat as well. Like, I need this fight as well. So I'm trying not to look at it in that aspect. Really, I'm just looking to go out there and try to be myself and answer new puzzles about myself of how I handle different situations that's going to be presented to me. So I'm looking to have a lot of fun. I'm expecting a tough opponent. And I think it'll help me gauge a little bit where I am and where my development is as a fighter.
Awesome. And you referenced it there a little bit, training in the gym, really putting in good rounds. Where are you training right now, and who's some of your main training partners for those who might not know?
I was training at American. I was going to train at American Top Team, but had a little difficulty because I live way down in Florida City, which is roughly an hour and a half to get to American Top Team. And I know my last fight, I was constantly in traffic driving back and forth.
Which sucks. No one likes being in traffic.
Yeah, so that's like 3 hours in traffic for me, which is crazy.
Okay.
And then also I just got a new job that I'm doing, so I stuck with staying here at home. I'm working at Full Contact, or not working, but I'm training. My camp is at Full Contact, working with Feliciano Bocanegra. And some of my training partners in there are a lot of amateur guys. Actually, I think only amateur guys, with maybe 1 or 2 fights. So as far as ring experience, I really don't have too much of that. But as I was saying before, I know I'm athletic. I have that ability. I can call on that when needed. Only thing I have to worry about is, my cardio. And with cardio, I'm able to address different things. So really what I'm focusing on is this new aspect of my fighting game, the mental portion of it. So I think it's good that I'm with the group I'm with, and it helps build them up as well. So I'm learning with new people, and they don't mind, you know, anytime I have a different type of workout that'll kind of help me out, they don't mind, incorporating it. So that's one thing. That's one benefit I get. I'm also working with another teammate, wrestling teammate from high school, Chino Duran. So I'm working with him a little. Um, I'm looking to maybe work with Jason Soares.
He's fighting for the Titan title, correct? The featherweight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or lightweight. No, I can't remember which. Yeah, it was lightweight title. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, he's a very good guy, amazing athlete. So I'm going to try to work with him as well. Some of my current training partners are Juan Rivera. He's had a fight, one amateur fight. Gus Solis, his brother Alex Solis, two other amateur fighters that I train with as well. And that's pretty much it. They helped me kind of get things together, and a couple of other people in the gym. They help me as far as conditioning goes. They push me, bring in new faces all the time, like every round. So, you know.
And sometimes that's better. If you have up and comers and amateurs, there's going to be no egos. They're guys that are wanting to get to that next level, so they're willing to do sort of go that extra mile as opposed to being like, I've been there, I don't need to spend some extra time or anything. So if anything, I think it's a benefit.
Yeah, that's another thing like I can do in this camp is I have a lot of benefits that are disguised rather than going in there with a professional that's fought in the UFC. And when you spar, you kind of tend to get in that, kind of showing the other person.
Ego.
Your ego kind of gets in the way.
Yeah.
And with these new guys,
there can't be any ego because they haven't even got there yet, right? So.
Well, they haven't got there, but they're pretty good fighters as well.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I didn't mean like they're not talented. I just mean that like they're once you get to a certain level, anyone sort of the ego's a battle every day, right? Once you get to a certain level. So I think like you're not going to have to worry about someone trying to hurt you or trying to one up you. I mean, there's always that goes into training, right? So
yeah, and also I can kind of bring myself down, which is good. So I can start canceling out my athleticism. I can start canceling out my speed and just focus on the like all the mental game. So because I can do that, I can get hit a couple of times, but as far as playing on someone's ego where they're constantly like, every day in practice I dog this guy or whatever the case may be, I can kind of come down and focus on what really needs to be focused on. So that's one benefit I have. Oh, and also I've been going to South Dade High School, and I wrestle at South Dade High School as well to help me get in shape and sharpen up on my wrestling skills with Victor Balmaceda. They just won their 13th title, I believe 12th in a row. So.
Okay, interesting. What's sort of your prediction in the fight? How do you see this fight sort of playing out?
I really haven't got the chance to look at too much video. Been super busy with the new job. But I see it very interesting. I know we have some other people that's on the card that's going to be a pretty interesting fight. I think the Style Bender, they have them on there. Yeah, he's fighting on the card as well.
Yeah, Marvin Vettori. He's fighting Marvin Vettori, yeah.
Yep. So I just want it to be a crowd pleaser, a very fun fight. I look forward to winning this fight, using all of my advantages and all my new learned skills. So and I expect a very cerebral fight on my end. Not just getting in there and going all crazy and tuning out and just only fighting. But it's easier said than done. So this is going to be my first fight where I actually take on that challenge on myself.
Excellent. Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. It's UFC on Fox 29 coming up here April 14th. Patrick, really appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
You can find me on Twitter at I am the oh yeah Twitter I am the animal. You can find me on Instagram under Pat the Animal Williams, Facebook under the Animal or my name Patrick Williams. Currently, I don't have any sponsors, so the floor is open to all you sponsors out there that are willing to help me out. Um, Shout out to you guys, I guess, for putting me on. So
Pleasure's all mine, man. And I'm sure shout out to your teammates too that you get to train with and everything like that as well.
teammates, my coach Feliciano Bocanegra, he might not be joining us for the fight. He has some family problems he might take care of. So right now I'm looking to find who's going to coach me for this fight. So interest is all going to be interesting.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.